Bismillah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إقرارا به وتوحيدا وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما مزيدا. أما بعد, by the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal, tonight will be questions and answers. There are a lot of questions, as it normally is. We'll try our best with our limited knowledge and our limited capability to answer every question bi'idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if it's a summarized answer bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, hopefully. First question says, what is the ruling on writing fiction? What is the ruling on writing fiction? Initials A. It doesn't state where the questioner is from. What is the ruling on writing fiction? We say that there are two main views among the people of knowledge with regards to writing fiction. Kitabat al-riwayat al-khayaliyah. Qisas. Al-fiction. What is the ruling on writing fiction? Two main views. The first view is that of those ulama who say that it's unlawful and it's impermissible, for obvious reasons. From them is that it's kadhib, and the Muslim is always to be upon sidq. The Muslim's belief is true. As the hadith states, the Prophet supplicated to Allah. The Prophet said, those who bear witness to certain things, Jannah haqq, the nar haqq, liqa'uk al-haqq, Allah's meeting is true, etc. Everything about the Muslim and his aqeedah is haqq. It's true. And the Muslim is to speak the truth. The Muslim is to be truthful in his or her actions. The Muslim is to be truthful with the other slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even the non-Muslims, with exceptions to a few small instances or circumstances, alright, such as warfare. And also such as the hadith regarding making peace between people, warring factions, and also a man speaking to his wife or a wife speaking to her husband. And some of the ulama say that actually isn't kadhib, but it's tawriyah or kinayat, indirect expressions, and it's never a time which is actually permissible to just blatantly flat out lie. So this is the first reason. They also say that writing fiction, and they say that there's no need for a person to write fiction. There's enough in speaking the truth and telling actual real life stories, for teaching, for education, even for recreation with regards to reading. So that's the first view. The second view is that of those ulama who say the exact opposite, that it is permissible for a person to write and to read fiction with the following conditions. Number one is that there be a good intention behind this, such as education, such as inspiration, such as cultivation of children. And they say that as long as the fiction does not contain shar, evil, it does not romanticize, it does not crystallize things that are haram and displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, such as drinking alcohol, such as zina, such as murder, such as egotistic practices and things like this. As long as the book or the story doesn't contain mockery of the deen, and mockery of the people of the deen, making fun of those who have beards, those who wear hijab, etc. And it has a good purpose behind it, then they say it's nothing wrong with that, with those dawabit, those guidelines. And the proof and the evidence that they use, or from those proofs and evidences, first and foremost is, they say that the poetry that was known in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the poetry that was said in front of him in some occasions, and the general Arabic or Arabian custom and practice of making poetry and making poems. And many a times, if not most of the times, the poems were what? Fiction, based off of fiction. And they would make parables, and they would make similitudes and similes and metaphors, which taught the people wisdom, bravery, taught the people generosity, taught the people the value of time, the value of this, the value of that, based off of something that what? Didn't take place. Everybody understand this? Something that what? Something that didn't take place. Everybody clear on this? And let alone the Arab proverbs that are well known, passed down from generation to generation from among the Muslims that were known to the Sahaba. An example of this, it says, إِنَّ الْبُغَاثَ بِأَرْضِنَا لَيَسْتَنْسِرُ. Famous proverb, not a line of poetry, that says, the finch or the sparrow in our land acts like an eagle. The sparrow in our land behaves like an eagle. Have you ever seen a sparrow, a small tiny bird, perching, chirping, singing in the morning that acts like an eagle, soars like an eagle, hunts like an eagle, swoops down like an eagle? You don't see that. But what's meant by that is that someone who's less qualified in the land in which there's no one to do the proper job, he has to be like a what? Like an eagle. I'm a simple, basic imam. I don't have a lot of knowledge. I never studied. I don't know the Quran. I don't know Arabic. But in this city, in this state, in this country, in this island, I may be the most knowledgeable man. So I have to take on the responsibility of, everybody understand this? Everybody got this or not? And there are countless other poems, proverbs that are well known to the ulama of Islam, in which many of them are what? Totally khayaliya, fictional. But they don't contain vice. They don't talk about khamar and the praising of khamar. Because there's tons of poetry in which the Arabs made talking about that special drink. Everybody understand this? That what? That special drink. It's important to understand this. It's important to understand this. Their culture, the khamar was a big, major thing. And that's why Allah Azza wa Jalla, He prohibited because of what the khamar did. And that's why those ulama who held the view that you shouldn't say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim before you say poetry. Because many times the poems have things in it in which it what? It romanticizes these types of things. Just like music today. If you listen to music today, it's talking about my life is to you, I'm nothing without you, I'm lost without you, with or without you. My heart is lost without you, what I'm going to do without you. It's shirk and kufr. And a person's heart being attached to a woman and to a man, let alone the songs about alcohol, drugs, guns, killing, raping, murdering. Everybody understand this? And if that isn't the case, then those lyrics go back to another ruling about them being what? Permissible. Because not containing vice and encouraging the people to do what? To love vice. Everybody understand this or not? So this is the view of some of those ulama with regards to writing children's books, novels, etc. It's permissible with those conditions. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Says here, inshallah, we'll take the question. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Third grade teacher, I teach English, language arts, literature as part of the curriculum. So where it's already determined what you have to teach. And at the third grade level, I mean, there isn't anything at that level like color or any romantics or anything like that. So if there is something that's not Islamic, normally I would just explain it, say, well, this is not something that we do in Islam, or if it talks about the holidays, then we can discuss it from an Islamic point of view. So would that be okay in that case?
As far as the follow-up question, with regards to working at a school, a Muslim school or non-Muslim school, you teach young children, and you come across something in the curriculum that is non-Islamic. Or even if it isn't non-Islamic, it goes against the ways of the Muslims. Because it's very important for us to understand the difference between the two. The other day we answered a question on Mufti Q&A about Islamic clothes. And we said that even if the clothes that you wear are not Islamic, they can still be Muslim clothes. And that's still important. Many people, they confuse the two. Maybe things that we do that's not from the deen, but it's from the practice of the what? Muslims. And there's a difference. So there could be something in the book that doesn't go against the Sharia, but it goes against the well-known practice of the Muslims, which we should also point out as well. So we say that if you work at a Muslim school, and there's something in the curriculum which goes against the deen, goes against the sunnah, goes against the way of the Muslims, then the very first thing that you should do is try to change it. And try to speak to the necessary people, the principal, the one who's in charge of the curriculum, to fix it. Because you may clean it up, you may skip it, you may explain it, you may Islamicize it, but the teacher who comes after you may just go with the flow. The teacher who comes after you may not even know, may not even realize that it's totally wrong. So the Prophet says, "Man nara minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi." Change it with your hand first. That's the asl. Not speaking out against it, but actually changing it. Going to the people and saying, sitting down scholastically saying, "Can we change this? Do we have to have this in the book? It's haram because kada and kada and kada and kada." So that's the first responsibility. If the person refuses to comply, or if you're with non-Muslims or whatever the case may be, then at least do one of the two things. Either skip it and tell them to skip it, explain it and clearly shed light why it is wrong Islamically. And you tell them the difference between this book and the Quran. The Quran is perfect. Every book besides the Quran could be right, could be wrong. And Muslims don't believe in it. There is no such thing as two fathers in a story. There's no two fathers in one story. No, there's a father and a mother. Father goose and a what? A mother goose. That's it. Eggs. Eggs come out of one goose. There is no two fathers in a story. And this is 2016. So it's not fun. It's reality. These things, they creep into the books. I'm sure you know more of it than us. So therefore, at least Islamify it. Explain it. Tell them why it's wrong. If you're in a situation in which you're a non-Muslim establishment, tell them your view and your opinion. That way you won't have no problems. I told them what I felt. That way you clear your slate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first and foremost. Secondly, the Muslim children in your classroom. And then even the non-Muslims, they can't say that we heard it's okay to have two fathers in the storybook. Because the teacher clearly said, kada wa kada. Last but not least, if you can't do that, if it's difficult, then at least make your curriculum that goes against and sidesteps that evil and that shar, that munkar. And if you do teach it, and you had the ability to say something or change it or speak about it, there lies no doubt you get a sin. Because you're helping them upon evil, upon shar, upon ithm and udwan, sin and transgression. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Next question says, how does one get rid of the disease of riyah? And more generally, how does one stop thinking about what others think of them? We say that, and the initial doesn't, I think it's AO. We say first and foremost, you get rid of the disease of riyah by asking Allah to get out of your heart. Asking Allah. Ibrahim alayhi salam, who broke the idols, who smashed the idols, who was punished, who was tortured, who was ridiculed, who was mocked, who was threatened, he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He asked Allah to protect him and his children from asnam. وَجْنُبْنِي وَبَنِيَّ أَنَّ عَبُدَ الْأَصْنَامِ. He said, oh my Lord, keep me and my children in one section and asnam, idols, in a different section. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, he asked Allah for protection. Are you understand this? And as one of the Salaf al-Salih, Ibn Adham, he said, وَمَنْ يَأْمَنَ الْبَلَاءَ بَعْضَ الْخَلِيلِ. He says, who can be safe from shirk after Khalil alayhi salam? Men. So ask Allah for it. That's the first step. Number two is for you to realize the greatness of Allah, the majestic magnificence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sees everything, knows everything. He's the most high, the most lofty, the most knowing, the most aware, the most merciful. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. Blessed is Allah in whose hand is the entire dominion. Allahu Akbar. بيده الملك. He owns everything. And on top of him owning everything, وهو على كل شيء قدير. And he has the ability to do what? Everything. So Allah is the most great. So compare Allah to this human being that you're showing off for. What does he own? What does he have? Is he ala kulli shayin qadir? How can he help you? How can he harm you? You recite nice for him. You speak nice for him. You do this nice for him. But he can't help you. Because he's a slave just like you're a slave. And his blood is in his veins, his blood just like in your veins. So you have to make yourself conscientious of this reality. That the slave is poor and is weak. And he came from nutfa, base fluid. Just like you came from base fluid. And he can't help you out. Even if he promises you, even if he threatens you. So the aqidah of Tawheed has to be firmly established in the heart of the Muslim. As the Prophet ﷺ said to Ibn Abbas, who was a young man, barely in puberty, if that. Inni u'allimuka kalimat. He says, I'll teach you some words of advice, O young man. And he taught him, wa'lam. He says, know for sure. If everybody came together to do something, if everybody came together to hurt you, to harm you, they wouldn't be able to do anything. إِلَّا بِشَيْءٍ قَدْ كَتَبُهُ اللَّهُ لَكَ إِلَّا بِشَيْءٍ قَدْ كَتَبُهُ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ. Unless it's something that Allah willed and decreed for you. So remind yourself of this hadith. He can't help you out. So if he can't help you out, what's the purpose of me showing off for him? I go to a man, say, Sheikh, I need to borrow some money. And I know that you're poor. You don't have no money. What's the point of that? You can't give me no money. You're poor. So it's foolish to behave for the slave to behave to be seen by other than Allah. So realize the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Last but not least is realize the punishment of shirk. And the reward of those who worship other than Allah, or those who worship Allah, but do things sometimes for other than Allah, or they show off for other than Allah. They wish to be heard, they wish to be seen. It's a severe punishment on the day of judgment. Know that for sure, that it's not going to be what? Sweet and easy when you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أَنَا أَغْنَى الشُّرَكَاءِ عَنِ الشِّرْكِ مَنْ عَمِلَ عَمَلًا أَشْرَكَ فِيهِ غَيْرِي تَرَكْتُهُ وَشِرْكَهُ. Abu Hurairah narrated that the Messenger of Allah said, Allah said, أَنَا أَغْنَى الشُّرَكَاءِ عَنِ الشِّرْكِ. He said, I have no need for partners. I have nothing to do with those partners. Anyone, man amila amalan, who performs any deeds, salah, hajj, zakat, jihad, seeking ilm, giving a khutbah, salat al-tarawih, anything in which you have a partner other than me, Allah says, I will abandon him and I will abandon his shirk. And if Allah abandons you, you have a world of problems. وَإِن يَخْذُلْكُمْ فَمَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَنْصُرُكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكِّلُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Allah says, and if Allah forsakes you, no one can help you afterwards. And let the believers put their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As far as how does one stop thinking about what others think of him, then it all depends. It's not absolutely praiseworthy for you not to care what other people think about you. Whereas the Messenger of Allah tells us in the authentic hadith, in the Sahihain, the one on hadith, Nu'man ibn Bashir reported, the Prophet says, إِنَّ الْحَلَالَ بَيِّن وَإِنَّ الْحَرَامَ بَيِّن وَبَيْنَهُمَا أُمُورٌ مُشَبَّهَاتٌ فَمَنِ اتَّقَى الشُّبُهَاتِ أو المشبهات فقد استبرأ لدينه وعرضه. فيه أن الإنسان يبتعد عما يخل بالعرض، يبتعد عن مواقع التهم والريب. The hadith says the halal is clear, the haram is clear. Between the two are unclear things, doubtful things. It may be haram, but your knowledge is limited, so you really don't know. It may be halal to eat this or to drink this, or this type of gelatin, or this type of perfume, or cologne, or kada, to someone who has fiqh, to someone who knows the ruling. As for me, my knowledge is limited. It's what? It's gray. It's doubtful. The Prophet says, so those who avoid the doubtful things, and obviously doubtful is what? Relative. And it's important for us to have a proper understanding of this hadith. The hadith does not mean that everybody has to avoid everything in which there's khilaf. As many people think, if not most people, they think this. The hadith does not mean that you have to stay away from something because it's khilaf, it's difference of opinion. And you have to do this. No. Those who have more knowledge, they do what the knowledge tells them to do, even if it's difference of opinion, or even if it's something that's doubtful. But the layman Muslim who doesn't have that much knowledge, does what? He stays away from it. Why? The Prophet says, those who avoid the mushabbahat, the mushtabihat, the shubuhat, doubtful things, gray areas, فَقَدْ يَسْتَبْرَ عَلِي دِينِهِ وَعِرْضِهِ. They will have a clean slate with regards to their deen and with regards to their honor. So the hadith teaches us that protecting your honor, preserving your honor is what? It's praiseworthy. It's a good thing. It's a what? It's a good thing. And the person should avoid doubtful things. When the Prophet said, he says, إِنَّهَا صَفِيَّةٌ إِنَّهَا زَوْجَتِي. He says, my wife Sophia, don't think anything other than that. And they said, Subhanallah, O Messenger of Allah, you're the Messenger of Allah, we never think anything bad about you. One narration states that it says, إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَجْرِي مِنْ إِبْنِ آدَمَ مَجْرَى الدَّمِ أَوْ كَمَا جَاءَ. He says that Satan travels with man like blood flows in his veins. So this hadith teaches us that a person should avoid doubtful things, things which will attack your honor, or be a means behind people what? Attacking your honor. I can't send pictures like that. I'll show you. You're going to see that. Whoa, what is this? What is Mufti talking about? Who is he talking to? Who he can't send pictures? He clarified. I'm talking to a brother in Canada. Nothing more. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this or not? So that's the general rule, is that your honor should be preserved. Your name should be preserved. And we all know this is from the pillars of wisdom in the dunya. Your reputation means everything, so protect it. However, if it comes down to an issue in which someone is behaving foolishly, someone is a fool himself, unfortunately, someone is a blind coward, and you do something that upsets them and angers them, and it will give them the opportunity to say something about you or to spread some gossip about you, and it's your responsibility to do it, Islamically or worldly, then you do it and you don't care. You don't care what they think, what they feel, what they say. They say this about you, and match it such and such. And the brothers here, they say this about you, and they say kada and kada and kada and kada. If it's pertaining to Allah and His Rasul, and you're the coward, and Allah's given me the necessary courage, and I have to stand up and do what's right, and say what's right, and go where I'm supposed to go, and they want to get upset and talk about me, who cares? Who what? Who cares? But when it comes to a wise man, a wise Muslim, a knowledgeable, pious Muslim, and you don't want them to think and have bad thoughts of you, then that's a what? It's a different story. Everybody understand this? A noble person attacking your honor is not like someone who's scum. It's a total difference. Everybody understand this? He's thorough, and this guy is a coward. He's a backbiting, gossiping, backstabber. He's going to talk about me no matter what I do. So therefore, I take the position of what? Who cares? But this person is different what? A different story. Everybody understand this? This is very important qaida in life, especially when it comes to dawah. Oh, you shouldn't go there because they're going to talk about you. You shouldn't say this because they're going to talk about you. And the brothers are going to make gossip about you. And your names, it depends on who it is. Everybody understand this? Blind following sheep or actual talabat al-ilm. People who are sunnah and hadith, or people who worship scholars. I don't care about what they think and what they say. Over here, maybe a what? Maybe a different story. And it's very important for the talabat al-ilm to realize this. Wallahu a'lam. What's important here is that you focus on yourself. You focus on your own circle. If you focus on yourself from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, all of the recommended things, the obligatory things, the disliked things, the haram things, you have very limited time to worry about what other people think and feel about you. Everybody understand this? But there's a balance in everything, and there's moderation in what? In everything. Wallahu a'lam. That took too long. We need to answer these questions quicker and faster than this. It says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Do you know of any authentic dua to ward off the evil eye, or any sunnah to do it or to prevent it? I would say, do what the Prophet ﷺ did. Recite, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil nas, Ayatul Kursi, Surah Al-Fatiha. Make the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon yourself. In general, many people, they ask these questions, which is okay, but this is like taking aspirin, taking Aleve, taking Motrin when you have other health problems. Are you always making dua to Allah? Do you live upon or in the manner of adhkar? When you eat, when you sleep, when you get dressed, when you ride, when you get in your car, what's the dua that you say? How many brothers do you travel with? What dua do they make when they get in their car and start the ignition? What dua you make when you put on your shoes, take your shoes off, etc.? So the point is that you need to live in a healthy lifestyle. You need to live with good health, not just pop a pill. So many people that say, give me the dua for keda, give me the dua for keda. Everybody understand this? That's like just, I got a headache, I take a what? A pill. Are you drinking enough water? Are you sleeping enough? You get enough rest? Too much rest? Iron, keda, your whole body is in sync. And if you're sleeping too much and not drinking enough water or too much sodium and this and that, it's going to lead to the migraine. You popping a pill is only giving you a quick fix. So you need to make sure that you're making all the adhkar on a daily basis from the morning to the what? To nighttime. Everybody understand this? And then that's the major protection from ayn and from sihr and from magic, white magic or black magic. Everybody understand this? Not saying that it's bad just to ask about what dua. That's good. But the true doctor is the one who doesn't just say, take these pills and go home. Everybody understand this? He investigates the whole lifestyle of the patient. And then perhaps it's something that you're eating or drinking or that you're doing which is causing this pain. As far as you keep popping pills, it's going to cause you harm. It's going to cause what? It's going to cause you harm. You may keep making the dua and the thing keeps happening to you. And you say, well, the dua is no good. Allah hasn't answered my dua, but your lifestyle is not a dua lifestyle. So therefore, every single Muslim, layman, talib al-ilm, imam, sheikh, should read the books of adhkar. You should read Hisnul Muslim. You should read Al-Adhkar by Nawawi. You should read these books and cover to cover, finish them, and try to memorize them. And everything that you do, try to make the authentic dua for it. And that is the full protection. Wallahu alam. Next question says, if I ask a brother to do cupping, hijama, on me, do I exclude myself from the hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ said those entering Jannah without any judgment are those who do not seek ruqyas from others? We say no. Seeking hijama does not mean that you're included in those who yastarqun. Ruqya shay wal hijama shay. Ruqya is one thing, hijama is another thing. Making a cure or incantation, or even in English the word a spell, meaning a good spell, ruqya, reciting on someone, reading on someone. Everybody understand this? Asking someone to read on you. I think I have a jinn in me. I think sorcery has been placed on me. I can't go to my wife. Mathalan, I'm having bad dreams. My stomach hurts really, 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 really bad. I vomit when I hear Surah Al-Baqarah being recited, etc. So please recite on me. That's one thing. asking someone to give you hijama is totally different. First and foremost, hijama and ruqya are different things. That's number one. Number two, you can make ruqya on yourself. But can you do hijama on yourself? Some parts you can. But other parts that are sensitive, tender, you need someone else's what? Hands to make the hijama on you. So they're two different things. Hijama is a specific medical skill. Ruqya is a skill as well, but it's a bit different. Everybody understand that? So they're not the same. That's first and foremost. Secondly is, there are other ayat in the Quran, other hadith that teach us that there are others who will go to Jannah without hisab as well. Without any reckoning. They aren't mentioned in this hadith. Everybody understand this? Such as the sabirun. The sabirun will be given their reward on full on Yawm al-Qiyamah, huh? Everybody understand this? Tayyib. Another very important point is that it is not disliked to ask someone for ruqya, as many people think. It's not disliked. It's not makruh. As is explained in detail by An-Nawawi rahimahullah and Al-Minhaj. And that is because there are many other hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ allowed the Sahaba to do ruqya, to get the ruqya, and to ask for ruqya. As it states in the hadith of Aisha, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ kana ya'muruni an astarqiya min al-ayn. He told me to ask for ruqya. But the hadith, hum alladhina la yastarquna wa la yaktumun, the hadith it says that the 70,000 is pertaining to complete level of tawakkul. The premium, superior level of tawakkul. I don't want to ask anyone for anything, ruqya or anything else. So many people, and this is a true story, I know brothers, they come, they need ruqya. They have jinn in them, for real. And they say, oh, I don't want to ask no one for the ruqya because I don't want to be in those who, are not included. Well, who said you're from those 70,000 Muslims? Who said that you're from them? That's first and foremost. Secondly, does it make sense in the deen for you to leave off something which is mandatory for something that's virtuous? You have a major problem in your religion. You can't make wudu. You can't make the takbir. You have waswasa, the jinn, shaitan is in you. And you seek something that's of a what? A high level of tawakkul and iman. That doesn't make any sense. So there has to be fiqh. And the fiqh is the thing, it's the moderator of what to do and what not to do. Fiqh fi deen. That's the moderator of your life. Should I ask or not? Should I go or not? Fiqh and hikmah. Everybody understand? So they are not the same. It's a total difference. It's a very, very long discussion with regards to the permissibility of asking others for things. The permissibility of asking others for things. Last but not least is, if you don't ask people for ruqya, do you ask people for other things? How often do you ask people for things? On the phone, in a text message, in an email. You ask people for things every single day. But the actual cure that you may need, you say what? I don't want to ask. That doesn't make any sense. And if you're not going to ask people for ruqya, then don't ask them for what? Anything else. Can you bring me some food, sheikh? Some soup? No. I'm sick. I'm hungry. I'm not going to ask. If you give it to me, alhamdulillah. But I'm not what? I'm not going to ask. Sharif, I need to take him to the laundromat. I'm not what? I'm not going to ask. Uncle Faz, I'm not what? I'm not going to ask. That is the perfect tawakkul. Everybody understand this? So we need to realize this. Wallahu a'lam. Next question says, Assalamu alaikum. What are the steps for ghusl again? A, C is the initials. And inshallah, for all the people asking questions in the future, please put your initials and your city, your state, your country, bidhnillah. It says, what are the steps of ghusl? We mentioned two ways of making ghusl. The first way is the simple, easy way, which includes the niyyah, intention, of why you're making a ghusl. You intend to make ghusl because you ejaculated, because you had sexual intercourse, because you had a wet dream, because you finished your menstrual cycle. So you're making a ghusl with that intention of a spiritual bathing, and not washing just to get clean or go to work. But I'm washing up because what? Spiritual. Not washing up to get rid of chicken pox and measles, oatmeal bath. Everybody understand this? Tayyib? I'm not washing up to just, relieve my arthritis in my knees and my back. My old bones. Tayyib? You know about oatmeal bath? You may be too young for that. Right, Faz? Before your time, the feast. Tayyib, we say what? Is that a person is washing up with the intention of what? Removing the spiritual impurity. That's number one. Number two is the entire body should be washed from top to toe. The entire body should get wet from what? Top to toe. Last but not least, making sure that the water goes in the mouth and in the nose. That's the basic, mandatory, bare necessity of ghusl. Everybody understand this? The ghusl that pertains to purity. Not ghusl of Jum'ah, not ghusl of Eid, not ghusl for being fresh. No, but the ghusl of spirituality. Everybody understand this? I had intercourse. I cannot make salah until I perform what? Ghusl. A woman's menses stop. She cannot make salah until she performs ghusl. How can that? So you do those three things. As far as the recommended acts, saying Bismillah, according to those ulama who hold that view. Washing the hands 3 times. Washing the private part, front and back. Front and back. Washing your hand with soap. Performing a complete perfect wudu as you normally do. Washing the head 3 times, right, middle, left. Washing the right side of the body, right to the left. Washing your feet in another place. And then making a dua after you make that. Everybody understand this? That's the complete step. Wallahu alam. Next question says, it says TK, why did Ibn Hajar al-Nawawi include da'if hadiths in their respective books, Bulugh al-Maram and Riyadh al-Salihin, despite being oceans of knowledge in ulum al-hadith? First and foremost is, who said that there are da'if hadith in Riyadh al-Salihin, according to al-Nawawi? Who said that? Rather, one of the biggest problems of the Tulab al-Ilm today is, as some of our scholars have told us, he says the Tulab al-Ilm, they do not do what? They do not read the introduction. They don't read the muqaddimat. Before I get into this volume 1, let me read the introduction of the editor of the book, the publisher of the book, and the author himself. And perhaps when you read the introduction, you'll find the answer to many of these questions. Riyadh al-Salihin, Nawawi's book, if you read the introduction, every hadith in that book is what? To him. Huwa. He said, nothing in that book is what? Da'if. Indahu huwa. بخلاف رأي غيره. He holds the view that every hadith in Riyadh al-Salihin is what? Authentic. So that question is what? Out the window. Now, if someone differs with Nawawi, that's a different story. Albani, those after Nawawi, that's different what? Different story. But the author says that it's authentic to what? To me. Also, for the hadith of Nawawi, the author says that every hadith in that book is what? Authentic. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يكون هواه تبعا لما جئت به. هذا الحديث عند النووي إيش؟ صحيح. وما سكت عنه إن حديث لا ضرر ولا ضرار. من حسن إسلام المرء تركه ما لا يعنيه. هذه كلها حديث منتقدة متكلم فيها. لكن عند النووي إيش؟ صحيحة. All of those hadiths, other ulama said are da'if, according to Nawawi are what? Authentic. That's first and foremost. Okay? Secondly is, Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he never claimed that every hadith in Bulugh al-Maram is authentic. He never said that. That every single hadith in Bulugh al-Maram is authentic. He never what? He never said that. Okay? And the ulama of hadith, they put weak hadiths in their books for several reasons. First and foremost is, the hadith may be da'if to you, it may be sahih to him. Just because Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah says it's da'if, does not mean that that's the view of Ibn Hajar. And that's a critical mistake that Tulab al-Ilm they make. They say it's da'if, Imam Ahmad's hadith is da'if because of al-Albani. That doesn't make sense. Imam Ahmad died in the 3rd century. Shaykh al-Albani came over how many years after him? Regardless of who's right or who's wrong. It's total different. Everybody understand this? Secondly is the ulama of hadith, they put weak hadith in their books because they presented you something. This is what the ulama of fiqh use. This is the dalil for the madhabs. Tafaddal. You take it. You look through it. You sift through it. I've done my job and I've brought you things. Just like a market. We sell products. Is every product in this store good for you? Is every piece of article, item of food healthy? Not necessarily, no. You are the consumer. It's your what? You take it. We have the organic aisle. We have the GMO aisle. Nah? You want junk food? Tfaddal. You want some organic oats and honey and nuts, wheat? Tfaddal. If you want something that's only organic, then you need to go to a special store in which they only sell what? Organic things, co-op. Strictly to organic products. And there are books of hadith that are like that. Every book of hadith is not what? It's not like that. There's some books of hadith which are supermarkets. And they're meant to offer products for what? Everyone. The good and the bad. It's something that people eat, something people drink. So we do what? We sell it. Everybody understand this? And that's the book of Tirmidhi. He offered the views of the different ulama, and those are hadith. Abi Dawood, Ibn Majah, Nasai, and Bulugh al-Maram. Everybody understand this? It's very important for us to understand. And a hadith being sahih or da'if is an issue of ijtihad. There's some hadith which are agreed upon of being weak. Some there's the ijma' that are authentic, and there are many others, if not most, that are what? It's khilaf. Oh, is it sahih or not? And that is because the ulama of hadith, they differ on conditions of hadith being sahih. The ulama in general, whether they're fuqaha or the muhaddithin, just like they also differ on men, they differ on the rijal. Thiqa, da'if. Kadhab, saduq. Is he from the khawarij or not? Is he a murji or not? Is he a qadri or not? داعية إلى البدعة أم غير داعية؟ عرفت كيف؟ العلماء يختلفون اختلافا شديدا في الجرح والتعديل بخلاف من يقول لا خلاف في الجرح والتعديل. هذا من أضحك ما يسمع للأسف الشديد، من يقول هذا الكلام الفاضي. There's no difference of opinion in جرح وتعديل. Have you not read the books of جرح وتعديل يا أخي? You didn't pick up one basic volume, ما قرأت تقريب التهذيب ابن حجر, which is a summarized book. You didn't read the اختلاف of the ulama on one narrator. You didn't read Hadi al-Sari, the Muqaddimah Fath al-Bari, the Rijal of Bukhari that were attacked and slandered and criticized. You didn't read these things, let alone the in-depth kutub of Jarh wa Ta'dil. If you have read them and you say something foolish like that, then you're evil, scholar or student of knowledge. Just that simple. And if you haven't read those books and you haven't studied the books, then you should shut up. And you should not talk about the sciences of hadith because you don't know what you're talking about. And you're speaking about that which you have no clue concerning. Everybody understand this? And you're disrespecting those great ulama that you're claiming to follow. You're disrespecting them. Imam Ahmed was a great scholar who studied for years and had piety. You have barely studied, if not studied, and where's your piety? Everybody understand this? This is very dangerous. When we start talking about this and that and so on and so forth. We need to know who we are and what we are. As the Salaf as-Salih said, Rahim Allahu rajulan arafa qadra nafsi. May Allah have mercy upon a man who knows his worth and his place. May Allah have mercy upon a man who knows his station. This is beyond me. Let me just fall back and be quiet. This is too deep for me. Let me just what? Chill, relax. And let me leave it to the specialists. Everybody understand this? You speak with knowledge or refrain from speaking. And if you do have the knowledge, then be fair. Don't say one thing and hide 10 things. Don't hold one view and the other ulama and tulab al-ilm hold what? Other views, and you make it ijma'. There's no difference of opinion. There's no khilaf on this issue. Everybody agrees that we go back. What are you talking about? Billahi alayk. Everybody understand this? So therefore, those books, all of those books are not meant to just be authentic hadiths. Some ulama do consider those hadiths to be authentic. And the other ulama, they may have made mistakes and errors. They're human beings. And it's not the Quran. Everybody understand this? Wallahu ta'ala. Moving forward, it says here, I always get told haircuts should be one grade all over. Is it permissible to have the sides shorter than the top fade? There was J.I. Someone named I.C. says, says what? Not skin fade though, just slightly faded. We said before, I believe we answered this question the other night. And also go back to the video that we did on fades in light of Kitab and Sunnah, mohawks as well. Next question says, why did some muhaddith like Nasai and Tirmidhi include da'if hadith in their sunan? We just explained that as well. Says here, please, I heard from Bukhari's Adab al-Mufrad, putting authentic narrations only wasn't a condition. Is this correct? And if so, why wasn't there in this case? The question is not that clear, just like we just said. All of the ulama of hadith did not make a condition for every hadith to be authentic. Everybody understand this? That is not a shart of every alim and of every book. There's some books that Bukhari wrote, and there are other books that he wrote in different styles and different manners. Let alone the fact that the concept that a weak hadith is totally useless, and it can't be mentioned, and it's haram to be mentioned. And there are two versions of the book. There's the sahih and there's the da'if version. Is this from the way of the ulama of the past? Is this from the early ulama? Did they do things like this? Did they write books like this? Or did they just summarize the book for the layman and for the general people? Is it the way of the people of hadith to take a person's book and I'm authenticating it and declaring other versions to be da'if, and I make my own version of someone else's book? I understand this? You say that the hadith is sahih, and he holds it to be da'if. You said it's da'if, and he holds it to be sahih. So who's right? And what type of student of knowledge does this produce? What type of taqleed and fanaticism does this produce? The hadith is da'if because it's in a da'if version of the book. Even though Ibn Abdul Barr quoted it, and he said it was sahih. But it's da'if because of the scholar of the 14th century. This is tahammul, yani. You're taking sides and picking and choosing. What makes Shaykh al-Albani superior to Ibn Abdul Barr? And it's not an attack on Shaykh al-Albani for anybody to say that it is. But this is a true question that needs to be asked. What makes it superior? Shaykh al-Albani says da'if, and Ibn Abdul Barr said it's sahih. Who do we take? هذا تحكم. If you're a blind follower, you say, oh, Albani's right automatically. What is this? Or Ibn Abdul Barr, he's right automatically. La 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 la. Talib al-ilm deciphers which are the two strongest based off of science. A layman follows the view that he feels most safe in. This is what I heard, this is what I've been taught, I'm going to go with that. Everybody understand this? I met some of the students of Shaykh al-Albani in England, kada wa kada wa kada, I'm going to go with that. But to determine and declare and say he's superior than him, that is the door of fanaticism. That's the gate of the party partisanship. My scholar is better than yours. My imam is better than yours. If he declares it away, then that's the bottom line. If my madhab, if Shafi'i says it, then it's automatically better than the Hanafi view. If Abu Hanifa doesn't hold the view, then it's da'if. That's how these things crept in. Everybody understand this? So know your place. A talib al-ilm is not like an ammi, a layman. A layman is not like a talib al-ilm. A talib al-ilm is not like a scholar. The three different levels, mujtahid, muttabi, and muqallid. The problem is when a muqallid starts talking and thinking and behaving like a muttabi. The problem is when a mujtahid, unfortunately, starts behaving, talking, and thinking like an ammi. And that's a musibah. That's a musibah. That's a calamity. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Moving forward. Says here, AO from Canada, Ontario, Ottawa. Question: how does one get rid of the disease of riyah? I tell you, we answered it already. Says here, next question states, if two people are living together as husband and wife, but without any kind of contract, official or religious, then they accept Islam, do they have to get married the Sharia way or just carry on as they were? We say they should get married Islamically. As long as you were just boyfriend and girlfriend, it's my girl, or my wifey, as they say, Wiz, I take care of her, I pay the bills, we've lived together for 7 years, we have kids. This is a reality. I don't cheat on her, she doesn't cheat on me. As if they're what? As if they're husband and wife. He works, he comes home, he takes care of everything. They go out, go to Walmart, he takes her to the movies. They're like a family. They've been together for years, but they're just not what? Just not married. It's a reality. This is a what? It's a reality. So when they accept Islam, do they have to get married? We say they need to get married because they weren't married according to their Christian or Catholic ways. If they were married, this is a different story. But as long as she's just my girlfriend, or he said he didn't put the ring on the finger yet. Everybody understand this? Then they need to do what? They need to get married in Islam. Wallahu a'lam. Moving forward, it says, from Toronto, MA, what is the ruling on writing fiction? Next question says, from LGMM, it says MMUSA, MN Blaine, Assalamu alaikum, Blaine, Minnesota. I was looking at the biographies of some of the Imams of the past, and I noticed that after Imam was an Ash'ari. Is there a reason that so many of the group? We say, wa alaikum assalam. What do you mean by Imams of the Salaf? You mean Imams that came before us? Or you mean Imams from the first and second and third generation? If you mean the first, anyone who came before us of the 11th, 12th, 10th, 9th, 8th century, that's one thing. The general meaning of Salaf, those who come before you, that's one thing. As far as if you mean the Tabi'een, the followers of the Tabi'een, the students of the Sahaba, that they were Ash'ari, then that's something that does not exist. And that's because the madhab of Imam Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari didn't exist at that time. He wasn't born yet. There was no such thing as Ash'ari. So that is totally wrong and erroneous. And that's what's clear from the question. So you need to fix that part of the question. That's wrong. That's what? That's wrong. Everybody understand this? As far as those ulama who came afterwards, who came later on, and he was Ash'ari or affected by Ash'ariyah or so on and so on and so forth, why were there so many of them? And that's a very, very long story. My personal advice is for you to read the biography of Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari rahimahullah. Read his biography. Read his life story. Read the household in which he was raised. Read about his parents, his father. Read about his family members. And read about how Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari turned into what he turned into. Read about the stages in his life. How he studied this madhab, that madhab, this madhab for years. And it was the end of his life, he created his own hybrid madhab. And he took back and he recanted many things that he held before. And he still died with his own hybrid madhab. And read about those who learned from him, who took from him, and why they became so widespread. And the group of the Ash'ari or Ash'a'ira came about. And why this Shari', this person of Usul, this person of Tafsir, this one and that one, so on and so forth, are Ash'a'ira. Read about that. Be the nice subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you'll find the answers to the question. You also have to know, what is the Ash'ari madhab? Why did it become so popular? Ash'ari madhab is basically, as some of the ulama of hadith would say, or some of the ulama of the past, they say, hum inath al-mu'tazila, or al-mu'tazila al-inath. They say they're the watered down, girly Mu'tazilites. The Mu'tazila came after the Jahmiyyah. The Jahmiyyah are those who came and they said, Allah Azza wa Jal has no names and no attributes. No names, no attributes. Everybody understand this? No names, no attributes. They rejected many things that Allah said about himself. And the Messenger of Allah said about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They rejected them. And from the reasons why they rejected them, many different things. Philosophy, rhetoric, putting the intellect before the text. The fire worshippers. Long history of how the group came about. After the Jahmiyyah came another group called Mu'tazila. And they came after Wasil ibn Ata, who was a student of Hasan al-Basri during the time of the Salaf al-Salih. And he asked Hasan al-Basri about something. Hasan al-Basri told him what the Quran and Sunnah said. He differed with him. ثُمَّ اعْتَزَلَ مَجْلِسَ الْحَسَنِ فَسُمِّيَهُ وَأَتْبَعَهُ بِالْمُعْتَزِلَةِ. And they brought their 5 principles. When he retracted himself from the majlis, the sitting of Hasan al-Basri, who was the Imam of the Salaf, as we read last night. So therefore, these people, they came after the Jahmiyyah and they tweaked it a little bit. They affirmed Allah's names, as the Quran is clearly full of, but they say Allah doesn't have sifat, He doesn't have attributes. Those who die upon major sins will burn in hell forever. If it's an evil, wicked Muslim ruler, we rebel and we fight him and remove him from the throne. Everybody understand this? And many other issues with regards to qadr, etc. Obviously, this is clearly wrong as well. So someone came after these people and he tweaked it even more. He trimmed it even more. And he says we can't just blatantly reject Allah's attributes. It's not right. But we can interpret them. We can affirm some and reject others. Everybody understand this? We clearly affirm some and we interpret the rest of them, along with the other issues of creed, the Quran, Iman, the Nubuwah. Because when people talk about the Ash'ari madhab, they think it's just Asma wa Sifat, but it's not. They have many other mistakes and problems. So this last final step was done by Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari rahimahullah, after he was a Mu'tazili for over 40 years, they say. Then he made his own madhab. He got rid of the things that were bad in his view. He affirmed the things that Ahl al-Hadith, Ahl al-Sunnah affirmed, that he thought in his view. And he died upon that. He fixed his life. He retracted many things that he had before, but he still had problems and issues when he died. Everybody understand this? And those who followed him, his disciples, were known as the Ash'aris, because his name was Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, like Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, a tribe. Everybody understand this? And his earlier disciples are nothing like those who came later on. Those who are really, really far from the Kitab and from the Sunnah. So why did it become so popular? Hopefully the answer is clear. Because it's a balance to some. It's not Mu'tazili, it's not Jahmi, but it is not hardcore, rigid, rugged, Salafi, Ahl Hadith. But it's in between. Everybody understand this? So that is relatively agreeable to people. That's relatively what? Agreeable to people. Let alone the judges, the government officials that took that aqidah, that spread it through money, spread it through political influence, spread it through writing, books, through scholarship. I'm Ash'ari, I wrote this great work, so therefore the people want to naturally follow me. Even if it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. Because of blind following, not thinking critically, and the people forgetting about the original waves of Salaf al-Salih and their followers. Everybody understand this? So these are some of the reasons why this method became so widespread. And there are influential people who spread it. Everybody understand this? Just like if someone says, why are so many people Hanafi? Or why is the Hanafi madhab so popular? There are reasons behind what? Reasons behind that. Why is the Shafi'i madhab so popular? There are what? Reasons behind that. Why are people who say they're Ash'ari 9 out of 10 times, they're what? Shafi'i. There's what? Reasons behind that. Why is the Hanafi connected with Maturidi? There's what? Reasons behind that. Why are there so few Hanbalis? The reasons behind that. Why the Hanafi ulama who made mistakes were closer than the other ones? Because of what? There's reasons behind that. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Next question says, Assalamu alaikum. Can you please point us to a video you did on Tayammum or give us a brief breakdown of when it's permissible? We say that here's a video on the channel, a fiqh tutorial of Tayammum. Maybe one of the disciples could copy the link and send it to the brother or the sister, inshallah. We've done a video on that, an actual live tutorial. You did? Okay, jazakallah khairan. Says here, when is it permissible? Brief breakdown. Say Bismillah. Hit the ground with your 2 hands. Wipe your face. Wipe your right hand. Wipe your left hand. That's your Tayammum. It's permissible when you don't have water and you have to make wudu or ghusl. It's permissible when the water is extremely far, extremely costly, extremely expensive. It's permissible in what you're afraid of washing because it's so cold. You can't warm up the water or you can't dry off. You can make tayammum when you have severe wounds, you have damaged skin, etc. Wallahu a'lam. That's in brief. Please go back to the video. Inshallah. Hopefully it's clear. Next question says, what is the ruling on jury duty in the West and giving a testimony which is not based on Sharia? Number 2, do I have to wear niqab around younger boys, age 11, who can discern the beauties of a woman? As far as jury duty, then obviously Muslims live in this country in a land in which the Sharia is not embraced, it's not enforced, it's not upheld. It's a land in which there are man-made laws, laws of the Taghut. So therefore, there's certain things that you can't do, and there's certain things that you have to do. And from the things that you're forced to do living in this country is abide by some kufr laws. Not all, only some. Everybody understand this? Some laws. And there's some systems and some things that you have to abide by. That's first and foremost. Secondly is, when we talk about Sharia or Sharia law, every single law or bylaw and this and that doesn't mean that it's based off of Kitab and Sunnah. Because there are things with regards to management, with regards to administration, Ashya Idariya. There's a difference between actual ahkam, rulings. Everybody understand this? Mathalan, in other words, the office opens at 8:30 and the office closes at 5:30. Anybody who comes with a request after 5:30 has to pay an extra fee. Mathalan. No one can say, oh, it's haram, you can't do that. That's not the Sharia law. That's administrative. But that's not the same as he who was caught fornicating with the proper evidence is put in jail for a month. That's clearly going against what? The Sharia. This person has a specific punishment. Everybody understand this? Mathalan. Or you say that a woman cannot, or a woman can stipulate, or if a man gets another wife, he's automatically sent to jail for a month in this country. Or he's stripped of his job. That's not an administrative issue. That's an actual rule, a law that's being established and enforced, which is against the Sharia and with the ruling of the Taghut. Everybody understand this? So in America, obviously, there are how many types? 2 as well. There are rules, major rules, and there are small, finely details of administration and organization. Traffic lights, tickets, driver's license, things like this. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear this or not? So therefore, if you have to go to the Taghut courts because of child support, child custody, jury duty, whatever the case may be, then there are 3 groups of people. The first group of people, they say, totally, absolutely haram. You can't get anything from the courts, do anything in the courts. And there's obvious reasons why they say that. The second group of people are those who say the exact opposite, waliyadhu billah. You can go to the courts, there's no restriction, just go. Any problem that you have with a brother in the masjid, take him to court. Sue him, hire a lawyer, no problem. La mushkila, la mushkil. It's America. And they have their reasons for saying that. And there's a group of people who say the asl is that it's haram to go to the court. It's unlawful to go to the court, to go to jury duty, unless it is a need and a necessity. unless a person cannot get their rights that Allah gave them except through the courts. Me and you having a niza, me and Sheikh Noor, we're having a fight. La qaddar Allah, huh? Allah prevent that from happening. Tayyib, there's no way he's going to give me my haqq, or I'm going to give him his haqq, unless there's someone who enforces it. Mufti, you owe him the money, pay him. No, I'm not giving him nothing. Get out of here. Blah. You can't beat me in a fight, Sharif. I'm not giving you nothing. Everybody understand this? If you can't beat me, I'm not what? I'm not giving you anything. I know I stole it, but you can't beat me, so no. And it's reality in a daily life in America. There's no way of getting my haqq except we go to someone who has the what? Force. Everybody understand this? Mufti, give him his money back. Pay him what you owe him. Give him back his possession. So if it's a necessity, then it's a different ruling. And if you go to the courts, in the jury, suing someone, make sure that you hate the ruling of the Taghut in your heart. And make sure that the punishment or the person that the man that you're suing, you're only taking from him that which is legislative, legitimate. It can't be a punishment that's worse than the ruling of Allah and His Messenger. Everybody understand this? Very important concept here. Everybody doing this? He only owes me $5,000. I say take him to court for $3 million. Everybody understand this? Owing all of it and more. That's non-tajawuz. You're going against the what? You're going out of the bounds. You're going out of bounds. Everybody understand this? And last but not least is that it has to be, or not, two more things. One more thing is, it has to be something that's a legitimate right, first and foremost. Something that you actually deserve Islamically, and not something that you really don't deserve. Last but not least, it has to be an issue in which if a person has no other option, there's no other way of getting it except through this. And the same applies to a witness. You're being a witness, you're on jury duty for what? For murder, rape, homicide, manslaughter, things like this. Or because a man raped his wife. Is that a such thing in Islam? Can you rape your wife? Everybody understand this? He can physically rape her. She refuses to have sexual intercourse with him. So he forces her to have sex with her. Linguistically, that's what? That's rape. Everybody understand this? But Islamically, does the woman have the right to prevent her husband from having intercourse with her?
Yes.
She does. On her menses. Allahu Akbar. She's not on her menses. She's not bleeding from postnatal bleeding. She's pure. She's clean as a whistle. Everybody understand this? And she says, no, I don't feel like it. Does she have the right to do that? No, she doesn't. She what? She doesn't have the right. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? So it goes to show you how it depends on what the situation is that you're being a part of the jury on. Everybody understand this or not? Everybody got it? Wallahu ta'ala alam. Moving forward. It says here, with regards to wearing a niqab in front of younger boys age 11, yes. If you wear niqab and you consider it obligatory to cover the face and the hands in front of a man who isn't your mahram, you should cover your face and your hands in front of a boy who is 11, unless the boy's dumb. What we mean by dumb is the linguistic meaning of dumb, not the meaning that the people use today. Dumb, he can barely talk, he's mentally slow, he's totally left behind of the average 11-year-old boy. Everybody understand this? He's really, really slow. Not the sharpest what? Tool in the den, right? Everybody understand this? He's really, really, really slow, left behind. He has no idea of women, beauty, kiss, nothing. That's one thing. But the average 11-year-old boy, especially in America, he may be advanced than a grown man. Everybody understand this? Only Allah knows what he's seen at the age 11, unfortunately. Cartoons have pornography in them. Cartoons call you to sex, call you to fahisha, killing, murder. All of that is in cartoons from a young age, unfortunately. Let alone the cartoons today or the books in which is what? Two fathers. Story of what? Two parents, they'll say. Not mommy and daddy. You say what? Two parents. It's a reality. So the average 11-year-old boy today, you should not show your face and your hands to him if you consider it haram to do that. Everybody understand this? Even though he's not the age of what? Puberty. Because he can distinguish between the types of women. This woman is tall, she's short. This woman's light, she's dark. This woman is this complexion, she's that complexion. She's pretty, she's not so pretty. He can distinguish these things. And he can know and realize, let alone tell other people. He can go to his father. I saw sister such and such at the masjid. She's really pretty, Abby. This is reality. Next thing you know, brother Fulan is seeing my sister such and such. Everybody understand this? So it should be avoided. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Khairan, inshallah. Moving forward. It says here, Assalamu alaikum. Is it permissible for a woman to attach yarn, the yarn that she's used for knitting to her hair? The yarn will be braided along with her hair. Jazakallahu khair. Wa alaikum assalam. May Allah reward you. Well, we say that the summarized answer, my answer, a woman should not put yarn in her hair. Don't put yarn in your hair, period. Yarn, lace, silk, string, artificial hair, human hair, horse hair. Don't put anything in your hair that's not your natural hair. With regards to different things, what do you call it things? No, not extensions. The things they use to put ponytails and stuff like that. Scrunchies, something, what? Scrunchies, there you go, scrunchie. I said a scrunchie, a barrette, things like this. Everybody understand this? A ribbon to hold a ponytail or something like that. Everybody understand this? Curlers. But any type of additive to your hair shouldn't be done. Yarn or anything else. That's my view on this issue. Everybody understand this? The Prophet ﷺ said in Hadith Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, La'an Allah al-wasila wal-mustawsila. Allah curses the woman who extends and the woman who gets the extension. And hadith is collected in a sahih, well-known hadith. So therefore, nothing should be done. Everybody understand this? As far as yarn, fake hair, hair that's not human, etc., hair in which people know it isn't yours, and that's a very long discussion among the ulama. And there are some of them, just to be fair, who held the view that it's permissible to do what the sister asked about, to use yarn. As long as it's a different color, it's not hair. Some ulama said if it isn't human hair, some ulama said even if it's a wig or a weave. But we don't consider none of those views to be strong. We don't consider those views to be strong. It's a very detailed issue of khilaf among the four madhabs and others with regards to hair extensions. A woman who has alopecia, her hair is falling out. She combs her hair, she washes up, balls of hair fall out her head. She has a bald spot in her head, which is very common among many women. Is it permissible for her to wear a wig? Is it permissible for her to do this? It's a very long, detailed discussion. We say, don't extend your hair unless you have an extreme case of alopecia. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Says here, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Do you interpret dreams, Sheikh? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I'm not a dream interpreter. I'm nothing but a what? A junior student of knowledge. Please go back to the playlist that we put on YouTube with regards to dream interpretation from Sahih al-Bukhari. Next question says, MAM USA Blaine. Assalamu alaikum. Could you please explain what a musannaf is? Jazakallahu khair. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. A musannaf. Well, before we answer the question, please go back to the very first playlist on Hadith Disciple. Before it was Hadith Disciple, when it was Hadith Studies. The name of the channel was Hadith Studies. The very first playlist is called the Compilation of the Sunnah. The Compilation of the Sunnah. I think it's maybe 15 or 20 parts, 21 parts. When you go back to the playlist, we have extensively explained what a musannaf is. What the term musannaf is. Alright, clear on this? So please go back to that playlist. As far as the answer here, the musannaf is a type of book of hadith. It's a type of what? Book of hadith. It's a genre of hadith books. We have sunan, we have musnad, we have a sahih, we have a jami', we have mustakhraj, etc. From those types of hadith books is that which is called musannaf. And a musannaf basically means it's a large and exhaustive compilation of hadith and athar. Statements of the companions, fatwas of the companions, actions of the companions and the tabi'een, along with the actual ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Categorized, organized with the chains of narration. With the what? With the chains of narration, with 4 chains of narration. Such as Musannaf Abdul Razak, such as the Musannaf of Ibn Abi Shaybah. Some ulama even consider the Muwatta Malik to be Musannaf. Ahadith marfu'ah, athar manqufa, musnada, mubawwaba, murattaba. That is considered to be a musannaf. But a musannaf in most cases is going to be jami', shay kabir, wasi'. It's very large and extensive, and it's exhaustive. So there's some books of hadith which the genre overlaps the next genre. In other words, a jami' is like a sunan from some aspects. A sunan is like a musannaf. A musannaf is like a sahih. Some people say that a jami' is a sahih is a jami'. Everybody understand this? This is questions for specific people, obviously, as we said last night. We have a buffet we offer. Some people eat a lot, some people eat a little. Some people vegetarian, some people want fish, some people, we offer what? Bidhnillahi ta'ala. So if you find a dish that's not suitable to you, doesn't mean that it's a bad restaurant. Bidhnillahi ta'ala. Why are you talking about this? ليش تحكي عن هذه الأشياء؟ من يستفيد من هذا في أمريكا؟ إلا في ناس يرغبون في العلوم وإلى آخره. طيب, so that is a musannaf in brief. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Last question that we'll take tonight. Says from Toronto, I think we took that question last night. Khayr inshallah. F1? Thought this is what we'll do. Because I know the feast is going to drop kick me right now from the top turnbuckle. We say what? I have about maybe 4 more pages of questions without any exaggeration. Easily 5 pages of questions. What we'll do, we'll save these for another day, the old questions, and we'll try to take just a few from those brothers and sisters online, along with the request of Uncle Faz. I didn't forget, Sheikh. Tafadal.
This was MC in New Jersey. Assalamu alaikum. Is it permissible to take medicine that has 0.05 alcohol in it, and specific for an infant?
Initials MC from New Jersey. I asked about taking medicine with alcohol in it, a specific amount, a very small amount, or relatively small, specifically for a child or for an infant. We say that the ulama of Islam differ on the issue. Is it permissible to use something haram for cure, for a remedy? Can I take something that is normally najis or haram or muskir, intoxicant, for health reasons, for medicinal reasons? Whether it's alcohol, whether it is skin of a snake, venom of a snake, toads, frogs, anything that's normally be haram, can I take it? Everybody understand this? Many of the ulama hold the view, no, period. And other ulama, they say it's permissible to take these haram things if it's a need and if it's a necessity. So therefore, if you have another medicine or another pill or syrup or injection or whatever that you can use that doesn't have the alcohol in it, then that's best, obviously, and avoid the khilaf altogether. If there's the only medicine that you can find, it's the best medicine, the most effective medicine, it's the least harmful, the most effective, and has a small amount of alcohol, then bi'idhnillahi ta'ala la ba'sa bihi, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hopefully there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously that's jawab mukhtasar, that's summarized. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
Question from J.I. from UK. UK. When people go to Hajj/Umrah, others tell them they want to send them dua lists that they compose. Is this correct, or should they merely ask the one making Hajj/Umrah to make dua for them in general?
First and foremost, it is best not to ask someone to make dua to Allah for you. That's best. Safest thing to do. It's not haram, but it's best that you make dua to Allah yourself. Rabbul Mashriqaini, Rabbul Mashriqi wal Maghrib, la ilaha illahu, fatakhidhu wakila. Allah is the Lord of the what? East and the West. He hears the du'as in Mecca and he hears the du'as in South Ozone Park or Coventry Lane or what? UK, Birmingham, bi'idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hopefully, inshallah. Everybody understand this? Allah Azza wa Jal is the Lord of the East and the what? In the West. He's the Lord of the East and the West. So he's as-Sami'ul Basir, as-Sami'ul Alim in the East just as he is in the West. Allah says, wherever you turn, fathamma, wherever you direction you turn, everybody understand this? So therefore, This is best to make the dua to Allah yourself. Just because a person goes to Mecca, Hajj, Umrah, doesn't mean the dua is accepted. Is it more of a chance, a blessed place, a pure place? La shak, no doubt. It doesn't mean that a person who's making that dua is making that dua with a sincere, pure intention. People pushing into him, bumping into him. I'm tired, my feet hurt, been traveling all day. He may just, literally. And many people, you've made Hajj and Umrah, you know this. It's so crowded, it's so tired, the bus, this and that. You may make dua with more focus, more concentration, more sincerity in America or the UK more than someone on Hajj and Umrah. And this is a reality. It's a what? It's a reality. So that's the general rule. But it isn't haram to ask someone to make dua for you, as is mentioned in the hadith. It's not haram. But it's best to make dua to Allah yourself. Everybody understand this? As far as the specific question, sending someone the dua list, if it's permissible to ask someone to make dua for you, then it's permissible to ask them for specifics in that dua. And if those things are many or abundant, or even just a few things, you write them down, la bas. La bas, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would say make dua to Allah yourself. Or wait until you go make Hajj and Umrah yourself. Wallahu ta'ala alam. This answer is in brief.
IH, United Kingdom, Buckinghamshire. Does wudu become wajib on a woman who experiences constant vaginal discharge without any sexual thoughts or sexual activity?
With regards to the question from the UK, may Allah bless all of the disciples and disciples there in the UK. We love you for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And hopefully, by the permission of Allah, Allah will make a time in which we can actually physically meet. I mean, in this life, if not in Jannah, Allah will protect us from the fire. So that's first and foremost. Shout out to all of the brothers and sisters, the disciples and disciples in what? In the UK. May Allah bless you all. Ameen. And we say, marhaba bikum. You're welcome to a hadith disciple. As far as the answer, summarized, quick answer, the wudu is not mandatory. It's not obligatory. It's not wajib for her to make wudu every time she experiences these types of, or this discharge. Wallahu alam. That's the summarized answer. We've explained other times in other places. We showed you the book the other day of the doctor who dealt with the issue in depth. In what? In depth. Naam. Wallahu alam.
Question right here. JK, Brother Mufti, UK. Is masturbation halal?
Question says, is masturbation halal? Muslims should not masturbate. Male or female should not masturbate. Period. Stay away from it and avoid it. That's the bottom line. Many of the ulama hold the view that it is haram. Other ulama hold the view that it's permissible. And some hold the view that it's permissible in certain times and stages, scenarios. Such as one fears falling into zina. It's a very high sexual drive, hyper drive, whatever, Everybody understand this? This is a reality. Many people like this. It's a reality. In 2016, is what? It's a reality. Whether you like it or not, it's a what? It's a reality. Many people have this. It's an actual condition. If you read about it, people that are born with what? Hypersexuality, men and women. So there may be a man or a woman who's not married, and they have extreme high sex drive. They see something, they hear something that makes them, it stirs them up really, really bad, and they're just as close from making what? Zina, waliyadhu billah. Literally. Let me go over and say something to her, or this or that. Says no, it's haram, but they can't control it. Everybody understand this? They feel they have to release. So some of the ulama say that they can masturbate because it's irtikab akhaf ad-dararain. It's taking the smaller and the least of the what? Two harms. Can't get away from both of them. Everybody understand this? This is the view of some of the ulama. Another ulama, they say that masturbation is permissible with regards to intimacy between husband and wife. And if it's not the case, then it's haram. In other words, when a man and women, when they get together, they're making love, fondling. He can touch her, she can touch him, and the act of masturbation is permissible in the bedroom between zawjain. Everybody understand this? Wallahu ta'ala. My view, my opinion, or my advice is to do what? يبتعد عنه. ليس فيه خير. There's no good in it. It's no good in masturbation. For men or for what? Or for a woman. Wallahu alam. That's to summarize what? Answer. Very long discussion. Wallahu alam.
NB from Toronto. Is it permissible to wear niqab and take it off / take it off, low, in parentheses, low iman affected you? Many people say if you taking it off, you can't wear it again.
Right. Is it permissible to take off your niqab when your iman is low, etc.? Some people say once you put it on, you can't take it off, you can't put it back on again, etc. In brief, if your iman is low, then continue to make jihad against your nafs. Don't submit, don't give in to the shaitan. You get hit by some blows, this happens, this thought, this stress, problem, flan, keep what? Keep fighting. The Muslim is supposed to be a soldier. Even if you get wounded, you get scarred, you keep what? Keep fighting. Keep asking Allah to help you, to support you. Keep making tawbah. Don't ever quit, don't ever give up. If you fall down, if you get cut, your niqab is off, your hijab is off, the next day you feel strong, put it back on. Everybody understand this? It's just that simple. As far as those who say that once you take it off, you can't. Once you put it on, you can't take it off. That's false. Wallahu alam. Yani, keeping it on, not humiliating yourself. Is it a game? One day we see your face, makeup, lip gloss, Sharif, mascara, kuhl. Naam. The next day you cover it all up, gloves, black from head to toe. So if you keep doing this from time to time, back and forth, somebody's going to make fun of you. They're going to look at you like, you're not serious. This is a joke. We know what you look like. We saw your lip gloss yesterday. Everybody understand this? Now you're covered up. You can't speak to nobody. This is the reality. However, it doesn't mean that it's haram. If your iman is generally low, your iman is not that strong, and you feel that you can relapse and go back and forth, then perhaps it's best not to wear the niqab until you know and you feel that you're what? I'm not going back. Everybody understand this? Because it could be a means of people mocking you and making fun of the religion. Those who are against the niqab in America, in Canada, see, I told you, look at her. She's covered now. Tomorrow, you're going to see a lip gloss, Sharif. Tomorrow, you're going to see what she looks like. Everybody, this is a reality. In high school, I remember we used to go to high school, there were sisters like this. One day, like you think she's in Afghanistan, burqa, in school. It was in the 10th grade, I think. The next day, she's wearing what? Daisy Dukes. What are those envious, jealous kuffar want to say and think about her when they see her like that? They're going to do what? Make fun of the religion, waliyadu billah. And all Muslims are fake. See, I told you. And then she's going to put it on again. It's a game. Everybody understand this? So there has to be a balance and a moderation. Hopefully we can all appreciate what I'm trying to say here. Wallahu alam.
Question here from France. If a muhaddith from the past renders the hadith sahih and a contemporary renders it da'if, or the other way around, with whom do we go?
Question is from France. May Allah bless the disciples and the disciples in France. I mean, we answered this question before on Mufti Q&A. We gave a specific answer to this with regards to one of the ulama of the 3rd century saying hadith is ma'lul, it's da'if, munkar, and an alim of today says it is sahih, it's hasan. Ibn Baz, Uthaymeen, Ahmed Shakir, etc. of the ulama of this current era, or others ulama of the 8th century, 9th century, Ibn Hajar, Dhahabi, Al-Iraqi, etc. Or vice versa, who do we go with? And we answer the question, we says, is that the general rule, I quote, the general rule is that the ulama of the past, of the earlier centuries, they were those who lived with the narrators, who saw the narrators, who met the narrators. They touched the narrations themselves with their own fingers, their own hands. The general rule is that their ahkam, tashihan wa tad'ifan, aqrab. Their rulings that they made are closer, more authentic, stronger in general. Everybody understand this? Whether they say da'if or sahih. That's the general rule. Everybody understand this? It doesn't mean that every single hadith is like that. Because an alim of the past we may say is da'if, la yasih, la yathbut, and he can only be talking about one isnad, one hadith, not all of them. Okay? Also, the concept of the ulama declaring it to be authentic or one alim. Here in this hadith we have Tirmidhi, Bukhari, Ahmed, Ibn Ma'in, Ibn al-Madini, Daraqutni, Ijli, all of them saying لا يثبت فيه حديث أخطأ فيه فلان وهم فيه فلان الصواب فيه المرسل الفواب فيه كذا. And this, and in a situation as if it's almost ijma'. And then we have an alim later on who comes and says, Kalla, no way. ففيه كذا وجماعة كذا ووقفت على كذا. This is not so on and so forth. هذا طبعا نقطة إشكال. That's a big, huge problem. But that's not the same as just one versus one. Group versus one, different story. Everybody understand this? So that's the general rule. Every hadith has its own taste. The science of hadith is not arithmetic. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. Even though that's how many people promote it, unfortunately. The science of hadith is not A, B, C, and D, and E. Science of hadith is a science that has to be tasted and touched and felt. Every hadith has its own specific feeling to it. Even though there are general principles, yes. There are general usul, no doubt about that. But every hadith has what? Its own taste. As Al-Hafidh ibn Rajab rahimahullah ta'ala says, وَلَيْسَ عِنْدَهُمْ فِي ذَلِكَ ضَابِطٌ يَضْبِطُهُ إِنَّ لِكُلِّ حَدِيثٍ ذَوْقَهُ. So if this person from France reads Arabic and studies Arabic, I would advise you to read many, many books from them. A book that's a necessary read, something that you have to read 20, 30 times over and over again. Sharh al-Tirmidhi of Hafidh ibn Rajab rahimahullah ta'ala. If you haven't read that book, you must read that book. And if you don't read that book, there's no way you can be a serious talib of hadith. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
FK, initial FK from New York, USA. Is it possible to have very close friendships with non-Muslims? Or will it somehow affect our faith or friendship?
It's impossible to have very close friendships with non-Muslims. Impossible. You can love a kafir without being their friend. That's possible. You can love someone without what? Being their friend. Everybody clear on this? Your mother is a non-Muslim. My mother's still Catholic. My father's Catholic. I love them. They gave birth to me. They raised me. My father treated me well, so on and so forth. But it's not my what? My friend. There's a difference. Everybody understand this? Close love and friendship, or yani not love, but friendship is impossible between a true believer and a non-Muslim. Doesn't exist. Doesn't happen. You can have an associate, a coworker, your neighbor, someone that you knew from high school back in the days when I used to play ball, when I used to do this, when I was kada. Hey, how's it going? All right? How you doing? Did you see the game last night? Oh yeah, the fight last night? Being cordial, being polite. Inviting them over with the intention of them coming to Islam. With the intention of you showing them the true message of Islam. There's nothing wrong with that. But someone being my friend, my close friend, and he isn't a Muslim, it's something that does not happen and it cannot take place with a true believer. That's my summarized answer. And it's the last question that we're going to take tonight from online. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Fadl Shaykh Yusuf. لبعض عدو إلا المتقين. طيب. Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, on the day of judgment, al-akhilla, khalils, intimate friends, will be enemies to each other, except for the muttaqeen. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, those who had believed, those who were Muslims. So therefore, the verse tells us is that friendship in the dunya, if it's not based off of Islam and loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I love you because you're a Muslim, regardless of your background, regardless of your ethnicity, regardless how tall, how short, how light, how dark. You come from the east to the west, but you're Muslim. You're a good Muslim. We're friends. We love each other. If it's not based off of that, then on the day of judgment, it will be a means of enmity and hatred. Because friends, what do friends do? They laugh, they joke, they curse, they swear, they drink. Even if they're not considered bad people, but they help each other out and other than the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everybody understand this? Other than what? The dhikr of Allah. So even Muslims who are friends, but they're not upon the dhikr of Allah and ta'ah and khair and ilm, knowledge and sincerity, on that day, I'm going to curse you because you called me to drink. You called me to look at this girl. You called me to do this with this girl. You caused me to take this riba loan. You called me to laugh and to joke and to turn away from the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, I'm going to hate you and we're going to be enemies. And it's not going to be laughing and joking because you helped me go to hell. You helped me displease Allah. You basically were a reason behind us being in the situation that we are in today. And this is for everyone except for the muttaqeen. Because you're my friend, we laugh, we joke about, yalla, no, go to the masjid. You're my friend, we laugh, we joke, but we're going to read a book. You're my friend, we laugh and we joke, but we're going to fast and break our fast. So if you're a pious Muslim and you're my friend, I'm going to remind you, you're going to remind me, we're going to remind each other. I teach you something, you teach me something, we learn together. It's always a benefit that I'm getting from you. And everyone besides the muttaqeen, one way or another, is going to be a reason behind some type of disobedience, or at best, ghafla, just heedlessness, one of the two. My friend helped me disobey Allah, or he didn't help me disobey Allah, but he wasn't someone who reminded me of the dhikr of Allah. Everybody understand this? وَأَحْلَاهُمَا مُرْ. The sweetest of the two is what? It's bitter. The sweetest of the two is what? It's bitter. Wallahu ta'ala alam. As far as the request, with regards to the ayah in the Quran, أَيَحْسَبُ الْإِنسَانُ أَن يُتْرَكَ سُدًى. Does man think that he'll be left, that he'll be abandoned, that he'll be just, live his normal life, eat, drink, sleep, and die? Allah Azza wa Jal, He asked this question. Does man think this? In other words, the man that I created, and I gave him a mind, eyes and ears, I gave him a heart, I gave him a tongue, lips, I gave him the ability to think and to determine and to discern. Is he that foolish? Is he that greedy to think that I gave him all of these blessings and he'll be left alone to do whatever he wants to do? Are people in the modern world today so stupid to see the sunrise, to see the sunset, to see the stars, the moons, the animals, the birds, the fish, science, biology, chemistry, all of this stuff, and think it's just for amusement, for play, to have fun, and there isn't one true ilah? Are people that dumb? Allah, He asked this question. And there are other ayat in the Quran that speak on this as well. So Allah, He reminds man of where he came from and how he came about. Was man not alam yakun nutfatan min mani yumna? Was he not, did he not come into existence from water, from base fluid, from semen? This big, strong, proud man who's such a thinker and a champion and a warrior and a this and a that. There was a time in which you weren't a child, time in which you were a few drops of sperm. Everybody understand this? A few drops of semen. Nothing. Shay'an madhkura. You were nothing at all. So Allah, He reminds man of the reality of His creation. ثُمَّ كَانَ عَلَقَةً فَخَلَقَ فَسَوَّى. Then from that sperm, he became an alaqa, cloud of blood. فَخَلَقَ. Allah made the cloud of blood into something else. فَسَوَّاهُ. And He completed him, perfected him. Look at your hands. Look at your fingertips. My hands aren't the best hands, but it's deep. The knuckles, the skin. What are these lines on my hands? What is this? How are my hands so sensitive? I can feel something. I can touch something hot, soft, cold. I can grab something. I can clench something. I get cut and it heals back naturally. And this is something that Allah talks about in the beginning of the surah as well. بَلَا قَادِرِينَ عَلَىٰ أَن نُسَوِّيَ بَنَانَ. Allah talks about the fingertips, the digits. So Allah says that He created man in a perfect state. Eyebrows. See what you just did? You said you blinked. Who gave you the ability to blink? What's the purpose of blinking? Why are the eyelids there? Why are the eyelashes there? Why are the eyebrows there? Allah created man, فَخَلَقَ فَسَوَّى. He made him in a perfect state. Everybody understand this? So Allah, He talks about man. He came from a man's fluid, a woman's fluid. He was made into a cloud of blood. He was put into a human body. Allah perfected him, etc. And then there comes a time in which there's going to be death. And after that death, the ignorant, stupid, foolish man says once again, I know death is a reality. I'm going to die. I'm immortal. However, Allah is not going to bring me back to life. And that's because how can the bones come back to life? They're ashes. They're dust. You say ashes to ashes what? Dust to dust. It's not what we say. وَهِيَ رَمِيمٌ. The mushrikun, they ask this question. وَقَالُوا إِذَا ضَلَلْنَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. When we're in the earth, gone and forgotten about what we brought back to life. Everybody says, تِلْكَ إِذَنْ كَرَةٌ خَاسِرَةٌ. This is a waste. Many ayat Allah talks about this. Allah says, أَلَيْسَ ذَلِكَ بِقَادِرٍ. Is the one who made man from semen, from sperm, from a young age, adolescence, grown man, then he goes back down. Gray hair, loses teeth, becomes weak, becomes impotent, forgets, gets Alzheimer's. All of these things happen to him. And then he dies. The one who made you in a perfect state. Doesn't he have the ability to bring you back? What's easier, making something originally or taking it apart and putting it back together? What should the two? Huh? What's easier, creating something originally or putting it back together? Yeah, I need me making this tablet, huh? What's easier, thinking about the tablet, creating the tablet, formatting the tablet, patterning the tablet, this device, or I have it in my hands, it's perfect. And when I take it apart, what am I doing when I take it apart? I'm not looking at it, and I'm not seeing where the screw goes. I have to take the screw out. So common sense will tell me that it's what? Put the screw back. Not saying that it's going to be simply easy to do it, but it's what? Easier. So Allah, He asked this question to man, the one who made you from the beginning, doesn't He have the ability to bring you back? Isn't that easier? Everybody understand this? So Allah Azza wa Jalla, He mentions the states of man, just as He talks in Surah Al-Mu'minun, that He made man from the clay. And Allah talks about the forms and the stages of the clay, of the flesh, of the clot, of the bones. Allah says, ثُمَّ إِنَّكُمْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ لَمَيِّتُونَ. Then you will die. ثُمَّ, Allah says, then what? يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ تُبْعَثُونَ. You will be resurrected on the day of judgment. Ibn Sidi rahimahullah, he mentions in his tafsir that this ayah or these ayat show جَمِيعْ مَرَاحِلِ الْإِنسان. All stages of man, from semen to blood, to this, to that, to walking, talking, eating, drinking, to death, back to resurrection. So that is what that verse, or those verses in Surah Al-Qiyamah that we read in the Salah Al-Isha are talking about. And this is one of the most important and the biggest themes of the Quran Al-Kareem. The reality of death and the reality of resurrection. And this is one of the big problems that the Prophet ﷺ had and Quraysh. Not that he was a liar, Muhammad was a fool, Muhammad was a drunkard, Muhammad was a womanizer, Muhammad was a pedophile. None of these things that people are saying today. They had none of these issues. The Sharia is wrong, Islam, none of these issues. Islam, none of they didn't have those problems. Not even a problem is Allah being one. They knew Allah was one, but they refused to single Him out. And one of the problems that they had was, when we die, there's not going to be resurrection. So that's why the Quran speaks on it so much. Everybody understand this? To tell man death is a reality. أَلْهَاكُمُ التَّكَاثُرُ حَتَّى رُوحِ الْمَقَابِرِ شُوفْ يَا أَخِي. If you think you want to live, then how about this man who had more money than you? He did what? He died. He was stronger than you. He what? He was smarter than you. He did what? This woman was prettier than you, and she what? She died. So if you acknowledge that death is a reality, know for sure that the one who gave you life can bring it back easily and simply. So it's very important for everybody to understand this from the themes of the Quran Al-Kareem. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
Okay. One thing I just want to add is just idea of you blinking. That is why they can't make a robot that's perfect.
Allahu Akbar.
Robot cannot blink.
Subhanallah.
Blink it won't up sync.
Subhanallah. It's deep. Allahu Akbar.
Just a blinking, you imagine that?
Subhanallah. Let alone other things. Allahu Akbar. And blinking is involuntary. It's something that your eyes do. Huh? Let's have a competition. See who can blink the longest. It's very difficult. That's deep. Jazakallah khair. Inshallah. Got chicken in the back.